Are the belts pretty gouge proof?
Yes, we're happy with the belts, and one of the changes we've made, this one, the first one was a seamless belt, but then the redesign took us to a laced belt, and that's a weakness, having it laced. So we went back to seamless, and it's still really difficult. Oh, yeah, that's all we're gonna get. But anyhow, that's how we control the tension on the belt is through. Sorry, I'm not gonna jump over again.
Oh, no, I was just
Killjoy.
admiring your flexibility.
But is this belt gouge resistant?
Yes.
I'm concerned because you say military use and stuff we move has a lot of sharp corners.
Yes. Yeah, it's a poly belt, and you know you can take and stab it with a knife, and it's going to it actually has material here that keeps that if you stab it. And we actually, the units that we sent to Malaysia, I crated them up where they couldn't be seen, and customs drilled a hole and drilled holes so they could get their borescope in there or whatever, drilled holes into the belt, and they're still functioning in Malaysia, so.
Okay, good.
Yeah, this material back here keeps things solid and good. So, you know, how much of a gouge is, you know, if it comes across the corner, there's probably going to be some issues with that and that kind of stuff. But for the most part, it is gouge resistant.
Good.
So basically, what we have invented.
We is you, right?
No, I have help with some of these designs and so on. I myself can't do any CAD modeling. I can program in the machine and make some parts, but when it gets too complicated, I need somebody that use computer-aided drafting to make the parts and so on and so forth. And this idea was somebody else's. So we have this little guy here, and it goes in here, and that's what the shafts of the motors and the static rollers set in. And then we have it held in place by this little thing here, and once that's in place, everything is solid and held there. And then what we have, I thought I had one here, but basically we have this cam, okay? So we just simply turn it this way, and that's how the belt tightens, and turn it this back, and that's how it's loosened. So you turn it, tighten the belt, tighten things down, and you're good to go. There was some experimenting, because what the cam rests on, and these are all parts that we make, is this little piece here, but to get the right pressure and not too much, we had to do a lot of experimenting to get to the right one. And now we have it dialed in and everything. We can actually, for safety purposes, we can actually stop the motor with one hand, but it will move 150 pounds per belt section when things are spread out. So it's really interesting that way. Another feature that we have is when these lift up, start to fold, everything shuts down. The belts no longer operate. And then, of course, when they come back down, things are operating.
So what's the 5-foot unit weight?
42, I think.
Pounds or kilos?
Pounds. I laugh because, you know, Americans are the only ones that do pounds, and I am pounds all the time. And when we were in Portugal, I had to make a note, so because they were asking me, it's always in kilos, right? So, and it's hard, and meters. So it was hard. It is hard for me as an American to remember how many kilos this thing weighs, and so on and so forth. Yeah. So, these are all different kinds of parts that we do. You want to kind of see well, these guys, to complicate things even more, there's a left and a right. So, because of the difference in things. But if you want to come on up, I can kind of talk you through how the assembly works, or I can answer questions, or whatever you guys would like to understand.
How many countries have you been to so far?
Me, myself? Oh, Jeff.
Give or take.
So, France, we were there 2 years ago. Been to Mexico. Been to Dubai, Portugal, Sweden, Denmark. And that's pretty much it. But the conversations right now, we are trying to finalize a deal with LATAM Airlines in Chile. We came away from this with we're negotiating a licensing agreement from this, meaning Portugal. We are negotiating a licensing agreement with a company in Italy. We have a company in Poland that is ready to go anytime we can get them a unit. Canada is in play. Thailand is there. Japan is a possibility. Portugal, we were just introduced with to a company in Australia, and as well as New Zealand. We had not had any contact with anybody in Oceania region until the Portugal event. So we'll see where it goes. They were very interested at the event, but there has been no follow-up to our emails and our outreach. So who knows? One of them is a military supplier, so we're hopeful that with this information that we have actually been paid by the Air Force, that will help. We also have a company, well, actually it's not a company, it's NATO in Germany, a NATO base in Germany, they gave us 10 days notice saying, we want to trial this now, at 10 days later, and I was in Portugal, and it wasn't going to work because the unit I had in Portugal was not CE certified, and I thought that we would be able to demo without CE certification, but you can't even do that without getting yourself in trouble. So we just didn't have anything that we could do, and that contact is with, we have a sales force, and this company is based in the UK that made that contact, and so they're following up, trying to get a time where they give us a little notice so we can get something there. So yeah, that's kind of, and I'm sure I'm missing things. Mexico is still interested. If we wanted to manufacture in Mexico, we could do a deal pretty quickly, but we're not ready to do that. Still hanging on, trying to make it happen for us to continue to manufacture, assemble here in Sitka. So we'll see where it goes. We have, always in feeling that we're going to get a large order, and we have Allen Marine is ready to help us scale, if you will. So, yeah.
So the unit you would load into the cargo bay to handle the material, is that what we see behind you?
This is.
Well, and how does that come in a unit or in pieces? And how much does that weigh to get it into the plane?
225 pounds.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that would come in with the lift and so forth, yeah.
Yes, so the idea is the belt loader, which is the piece of equipment that goes from the tarmac into the aircraft cargo hold.
Right.
Tasaba stays on that. And we have designed a storage rack, and we offer, it's so separate because there are some operations that just secure it to the belt and they're good to go, but other operations want to secure it differently. So we have a storage rack. I don't have anything to, I have some photos if you're interested in that, but we have two designs that, and Mike Littman, Precision Boat Works, helped us through that. I love working with Precision Boat Works because we don't have to involve any CAD modeling or anything like that. We just have conversations. And this is how it'll work type of thing, and then you modify from there. So Mike designed one that swivels and has a little folding ramp, if you will, allows Tasabas to easily go onto the belt, and then on the backside it comes right back up and then swivels out of the way. We have another one designed, here again working with Mike, for it to push over, and the same idea, instead of swiveling, it just pushes over on some high density plastic type of thing. Yes?
How do you design these for different environments? You've got like Sitka and Hawaii are different.
Yeah, so everything is IP65, so I don't know, IP is ingress protection, so dust, water, so on and so forth. Our process is that all of our control cards go into a waterproof box, and then we use these waterproof fans to get all the electricity into it. The motors and the static rollers are all designed for IP65. So wet environment is not a big thing. The temperature of the 60C, 140, that is something that we have now designed, and it's in the package all the time, and that helps us on the lower temperatures as well. But we do have issues with, believe it or not, the belts. Okay, so we would need it, so like going to Dead Horse or someplace where there's extreme cold, we would need a different belt for it to operate in the winter. And we have that, but right now we're keeping things kind of consistent, so, because we don't have any Arctic sales at this point. But that's the biggest thing is this one will go up to the 140 Fahrenheit, but it won't go past 20 minus 20 Fahrenheit. It just makes everything not operate well. No.
What's the base price?
$35,342
For the 5 foot unit?
for a 20-foot unit.
Okay.
For what you see right here.
Okay.
Yes.
Have you had any big companies come in and say, well, we'll buy you out for $1 gazillion, and then you won't have anything to do anymore?
You know, early on we did. We had a company is called Alvest, which is one of the biggest equipment suppliers for airlines in the world. They're based in France. And we couldn't, because I was still thinking that the value was more than they were offering me, we couldn't reach an agreement. So that's kind of where that's at. We are currently looking to do some outreach to some companies. So I'm oh gosh, Jim, I'm forgetting what it is, but we're putting together a data set of the value. Oh geez, see if I can remember or jog my memory. Prospectus, if you're familiar with what that is. So we're putting that together. The company in Dubai is owned by Emirates, and so therefore owned by the Kingdom of UAE, and they are interested in engaging small companies. So we're trying to see what that looks like. So there's several possibilities in the works for being merged or acquired. We'll see how that goes. Yeah, we started out early. Maybe should have made a different decision, but you know, in retrospect, it was before COVID. And if this company had bought us or whatever during that time, the dream would no longer exist. And my dream is, like I say, it's called Tesavas, right? Tim saves backs. So I'm wanting to make life safer and easier for ramp agents, and that's my big goal. So whatever it takes to make that happen. Yeah. Yes?
I've got 2 specific questions about your shop, because you've got an amazing shop.
Thank you.
With a lot of fascinating stuff. First of all, where did you find the pattern maker's vise at the end of your bench here?
Sitka for sale.
Oh, wow.
And we use it, well, for several different things, but inserting some brass washers and then the inserts for that part that I was showing you. Yeah.
And then how do these storage contain boxes up on top work? How do those doors slide, or do they pivot out, or how does that work?
They just go up and then come
So
down.
up and lift out?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Oh, I see, okay.
It didn't work out as well in actuality as it did in my mind. It's a good place for storage, and, you know, we create a lot of dust. Swarf, and you can see here in the bed of the mill, some of the swarf that we have created.
So, for service calls, if there's an issue, who goes out and fixes it?
Yeah, so we try to work with our sales network, people, boots on the ground right there in that country, but that's not always available. What we try to do, I'll use a couple examples, is Dubai. So one of the requirements we had with the contract, Ramper Innovations, was that we needed access to train a GSE technician. So when we had the issues in Dubai and I left with things not settled, when I got back and figured out what was going on, I made the parts and sent them to this guy, and he put things back together and got things working. But we also, I was at a show in Paris, and we got a call. We had a unit in Fort Lauderdale, and it had quit working. So we repaired it through FaceTime. He showed me what was going on, and I go, oh, here's the problem. This is what you need to do to fix it. And I had worked with this individual enough that he wasn't fully trained, but he understood and got it fixed. So, and he was very creative with how he fixed it. So, but he got it fixed, and it remained working for him during their trial period. So it's kind of a little bit of everything, but we try. Interesting with those parts, we sent 2 different sets of parts to Dubai, and FedEx was how we chose to do it, and it cost me $10 more to FedEx it from Sitka than from Seattle. So, yeah,
Such a deal, yeah.
yeah, it was very impressive. They have good international. One of the beautiful things about Tasabas is that it can go in the belly of an aircraft. So we are offering at $35,342 is X-Works Sitka. So that means that they pay for everything from the bench off, right? So the packing material and all the shipping and so on. And that works out for us, but it oftentimes works out for the airlines as well. You know, it costs, like Emirates flies out of Seattle, it costs them nothing to get it from Seattle to Dubai. And that can be, you know, with Alaska flying anywhere, or most places, that a lot of airlines can just pick it up at those points. It does get complicated transferring it from Alaska Airlines to that airline. You know, when we went to Brazil, they had to hire somebody to transfer it from Alaska Airlines in Miami to them because they didn't have things in place. But Emirates had people in place to be able to go over and pick it up. I want to show you another design. Everybody okay? We've got additional chairs here.
We're good.
Parked in front of them.
So one of the concerns that we have with Tasabas is when it comes off the belt onto Tasabas in the onload process. It was coming off and often hitting down here, and the person would have to reach over and lift the bag up and so on and so forth. So we came up with this, I came up with this, and it basically just sits on the aircraft. This door goes underneath the panel there, and then that brings it in to Saunders. This is sold separately as well. And we had one over here that was made out of aluminum. Once again, Mike Littman helped me with that. He took my idea and produced it, and then we were getting feedback that they didn't want it aluminum because of possible damage to the door sill and so on. So we worked with it's a university program, Tech Help, out of Boise State, and they built the mold, and this is all press molding for what that comes from.
Since you're selling it to the military, or working through a military contract, and now you got NATO involved, are you coming under OTAR regulations and having problems with them?
I have not run across that.
Okay.
What is OTAR?
Oh, basically, it's export of military relevant equipment.
Okay,
I don't remember the title, but
so yeah,
it's Office of Technology and something.
yeah. If you're familiar with the process somewhat through the SAM registration, are you,
No, I don't do that.
system of
I'm a
order
user, not a-
management or something, I forget what it stands for, but
Okay.
as a company, we register through SAM, okay? And those kind of things are part of that registration. So we had to
Okay.
prove that an independent verification that this is over 50% American made. So.
No, it's more than that, though. I'm wondering about, it's Office of
yeah, there's-
Technology Assessment and Research or something, but basically what you gotta do is certify that it's not of military use before you can get an export permit.
Yeah,
And this looks to me like it's fairly clearly of military use.
so there are exceptions
Okay.
to that for like NATO, but yeah, it part of our export process. It's not necessarily even the military, or it's not just the military, but we have to do a background check. We have to have an agreement in place with these countries saying that they will not export it to, say, Iran or those kind of things. So we have, I don't know, I'm gonna say probably 15 documents in our export process that we have to file before everything is kosher, and we don't get ourselves in export hot water. And by the way, it was Ramp Renovations was chosen this year by the Alaska Export Council as the small business of the year.
Congratulations.
So, yeah. 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 Any other?
Is the fact that Alaska has purchased Hawaiian Air, is that gonna help increase your service to them?
You know, we have good conversations with Hawaiian Air, and then it just dropped off. Alaska Airlines they started this, right? They ask us for help, and then when we go back to those people, they're going, "Oh, we're not interested now," and so on and so forth.
That's classic.
It's been very discouraging. We finally got a champion, if you will, and this person pushed it. We got Alaska did a safety risk assessment and so on, and we took it to King Salmon, and we did a trial out there, and of course this was one of the models that was designed by the company in Wisconsin, and they put things together in such a way that their soldering penetrated wiring that was next to it and created shorts where things wouldn't work. So we got it back, we fixed it, we took it from, after we fixed it, to Fairbanks. The trials that, before things went bad in King Salmon, were really amazing. We went to Fairbanks and had some issues with them actually using it, but when they did use it, had amazing results. But since that time, Alaska Airlines personnel won't even return phone calls. I have no idea where things are with Alaska Airlines, or emails. So, yeah, we interesting piece with Alaska Airlines. But we move forward with those that want it, and they'll be sorry. You know, there is a company out there that is doing, we don't consider them, I don't consider them competition, but they are addressing the manual loading of aircraft cargo holds. But they are selling for over $300,000, and I was aware of them when I started designing this, and I wanted to make it affordable. I didn't want to replace ramp agents' jobs. I didn't want to damage aircraft. I wanted it to be fast, lots of different things. I wanted to work with existing equipment, which this competition or this other company, it is all those things are not so, right? So, but Alaska has invested in those units for their Seattle operation big time. Yeah, but it doesn't pencil out for stations like Sitka, you know, or even Anchorage. It's not penciling out for them to purchase that expensive equipment.
Thank you.
Hey, David, I got a listen at 1:30, can I get you to, from your car, I think you did.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tim.
Oh, well,
I'll be back.
it goes by fast. Yeah.
Thank you, Jim.
Any other questions? I would like to show you how it folds out, if I may, and then
It's just secure housing. Right before, that's what it says. Thank you. They raised my rent suddenly, and so I didn't get out. Now I have. Of course. Marine Street, well, I'm moving from upstairs to first floor.
of course, in the aircraft, you don't have to do that. It's just that there's a void there where this thing slides across.
So where does it plug in for power?
The street after the ramp.
Yeah.
At the aircraft or on the tarmac?
We get our power. Don't have anything real quick that I can show you, but we get the power, and here we are. So this is a converter, and this one is for, well, it'll do 110 or 220. It's what we used when we were in Portugal. But we can convert from anything. So normally in the States, we convert from a 14-volt system to the 24-volt that we need to power Tusawas. So, but we can, the trend in GSE is now they're going up to a 400-volt electric powered belt loader. So we get our power from a belt loader. So we can convert from that 400 volt down to what we need for the 24 volts. So, yeah. And then it just is simple. We keep, for simplicity, we keep the plug-in at one end, And it's just simply
Not a lot.
this goes in there. We do have it where it can be plugged in on either side.
Nice.
So for that, that means that you can use it in the forward cargo hold or the back cargo hold and keep your cabling out of the way. Type of thing.
And even to the passenger cabin when it's converted, I suppose.
Yeah, so the company in Mexico, they are still doing, they're still using Tesabas, but we got them a converter that works for 400 hertz, where, you know, our power is 60 hertz,
Yeah.
but an aircraft is 400. We got them a converter that works with that. They own their aircraft, but they still pack 2 batteries up and just plug in our regular 14 volt converter, 12 volt converter, and drain one battery, hook up the other one and drain the other one. Yeah, they do that. But we can take the aircraft power and power to Savas as well.
Amazing.
Well, Tim, thank you very much. This
Thank you,
was
thank you.
fascinating.
Yeah.
You guys came up with good questions.
Being over,
Being, yep,
we were
doing,
here early, so we had a good time to think about it.
yeah, I see that.
Yeah, I wish I could have shown you the mill. It's pretty amazing. I don't know if you guys have seen anything like this, but what we do is all those numbers mean something, right?
To somebody, up, down, left, right, depth.
Yeah, different
Fast,
things
slow.
and movement and speeds and just all that kind of stuff, yeah.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So we set these chairs